Tutorial request. This is the Grand Theft Auto recharge bar that'll recharge if you're not holding it after a set amount of time, and that set amount of time is right here. This is how long it would take if you didn't press the button for it to start recharging. So that's your thing that you would edit with your RPG elements. This is the Grand Theft Auto tutorial. This is a tutorial request. Someone requested it for me. This is the text displayer gadget edited with this, the dot that was right here, moved this way, so that way it gives it the appearance of the text displayer going down. So what you want to do is press space in here, right? Make this green, that's what the color is right there. Take it off of auto look so that way you can scale it however you want to. Then my settings right here, you can copy. Make sure it's on this if you want it on the left side. If you want to move it up and down just like that, press that one. And then essentially all you have to do is copy my settings as you want to. Pull out a keyframe, press L1 and X on it like this, and then drag that down your bar. And then what you would want to do, that dot that was right here in the beginning, drag it like right here. This space in between here, this is the keyframe that makes it to where you run faster, changes the variable. So if you wanted to make it to where this heals you or other types of stuff, this is the keyframe that you want to do that. The reason there's a space right here is so that way when the playhead's playing through it, right? Usually what'll happen is that bottom keyframe will change the values, but it can't change the values if it's not in power. So if this playhead's over here, it's no longer in power. This is where you would have to wait for the timer to recharge in order to be able to use your skill again. And right here you can actually add a keyframe that makes your text displayer invisible if you want to. So that's where you would add that right around this space. You just pull out a keyframe, right? And then you would size it up. And you would just, you shouldn't have to change the text opacity. Make sure you press space in here if I didn't say that. What you should do is just have to press this and maybe the one that shows the lines, the borders. You'd want to turn those off. Maybe this too. Anything that's in sight, you'd want to turn off essentially. And you should be good. With this one you can add an effect, make it to where as the bar goes down it gets red. So that's what you can do because of the dot being over here. That's how that fade in should work. And these dots are called envelopes. So let's get into the logic of it. Pull out a timeline, make sure it's on sustain, don't mess with the speed or anything. It's really easy to do this. I actually had a tutorial before, but I always look for the best ways to do things. That way I can learn more about dreams and you guys can get the right information. This tutorial would have been 1,000 times longer if I would have uploaded that other video. This will show you how to do it the way that I'm doing it. So this has nothing to do with it. This has nothing to do with it. L1, put that into the start of a timer. Also put L1 into a NOT gate import. You can use nodes if you guys want to. Just look up my node tutorial. You can use that in unison with this. I'm not using any nodes right now. So the NOT gate is the opposite day gadget. So if whatever's on this side is sending a signal, the NOT gate isn't. If whatever's on this side is sending a signal, L1, then the NOT gate, or is not sending a signal, then the NOT gate is. So right now it's sending a signal to this keyframe, and this keyframe, because it is not getting a signal from my control sensor, which the button for this to all activate is L1. So what this keyframe does, if NOT gate is sending a signal because the left side is not sending a signal, what this keyframe does, press L1 and X on it, and record yourself turning off this right here. This is the keyframe that changes the speed and stuff for your character. This way, whenever you're not pressing L1 and the playhead is played through but it's stopped like right here, then this will be turned off to where you're not running fast because it's turned off, because you're because it's turned off. But that's what that's doing. That's important. What this keyframe is doing, press L1 and X on it, and then press countdown. It makes it have a pause-like effect for your timer. So if you ever wanted to know how to pause timers, That's how you would do it. Next, what you want to do with your timeline, plug playhead position, press L1 square on it, playhead position into a calculator, put the greater than sign. So if it's greater than 0.0, so if the playhead is like a half an inch over because you know you pressed L1, then it sends a signal to a AND gate. NOT gate also sends a signal to a AND gate. So if you are not pressing L1 and your thing is greater than, your timeline is greater than 0, then the result goes to a timer. This is the timer it takes for your recharge to start. Start timer. Timer finished. It would activate a keyframe. I have mine in 2.5. What this keyframe does is changes this to positional, and also should turn off this keyframe. If you want to, you can add a node and then just have it turn off the node if you need some extra backup. So you'd have this plugged into the node on the left side and the right side of the node plugged into here. Then you'd have this turn off the node instead. None of this stuff should be on keep changes. This should be everything you need to do. What you'll want to do with this keyframe that changes the values of whatever you're going to do with it, you would want to simply press L1 and X on it. You want to press L1 and square on your puppet to where this menu's up, and then make it to where it changes the speed, walk speed, run speed, and of course the acceleration. You might want to make it to where the deceleration is extremely high. You shouldn't have to record the deceleration going up. I would just make that high initially, so like maybe in the 100s or 200s, but you want the deceleration up. You can also raise up the jump stuff and change any other thing that you may want to change, such as if you want to add things like a ragdoll effect, you'd want to change and raise this up while you're running, if that makes sense. And I usually turn off motion controls, and I also turn off auto look for my character. This is our character hitbox. Look up my hitbox tutorial. Also look up my Cuphead 2D game tutorial if you guys want to. It's a 2D FPS tutorial, Dreams PS4, if you want to search it up. If there's anything I left out, let me know. This should be everything right here. If you want to use a separate control sensor, you can. Just make sure it's set to remote. If you want to use a different control sensor, set it to remote right here. The reason you might want to do that is because this is the control sensor that's plugged into the wall, and sometimes you need to have this one activated while the other one that would do all this stuff is deactivated for whatever reason you might want to do. So right now I'm still holding L1. Let's release. Now I'm rapidly pressing L1. Now I'm not holding. Recharge. Charger full. Let's get it. So as you can see, it's really, really simple to do this, and this should be a really good explanation. My first video was pretty good, but it would have been a whole lot more confusing, which is why I'm kind of happy that I waited to do this. So again, what's plugged into the playhead? Timer out port, plugged into there. This is sort of like, in order for this timeline to reach to the end, this has to be 5, because this is the out port, and that's what it's going off of. It's sort of like a counter. And this keyframe turns that off. This keyframe turns this off. This keyframe sets this to that. It should start off on either that or this. I think it starts off on this. Just go ahead and press circle and look. Rewind. Play. So it starts off on countdown, I guess. I guess it's on countdown. No, it doesn't start off on countdown. The reason it's on countdown is because of one of these keyframes, I think. So it starts off. Rewind it. On that, I guess. Positional. Either that or it starts off on count up. So, just so you guys know. And the reason it's on negative is because not gate. This changes it to negative. This changes it to positional. And that should be all you guys need to know. If you need something to sort of pause this one, then you would want to change it to that with a keyframe. Or restart it, but you shouldn't need to because this logic seems to work. Keep this on sustain. That into the A. Greater than 0. Result B. A. If you're not pressing, then it'll start up the timer to allow this to go up. And you could double not gate it to where if you are pressing, it just restarts the timeline. So that's another way you could do it. If that was something. So yeah, this should be it. Do not forget to subscribe. Follow me on Dreams. I'm Young Text YouTube and Dreams. Young Text on YouTube and Young Text on Twitch. Follow me here and subscribe. Check my channel playlist for individual tutorials on logic, sculpting, animation, music, and more. Subscribe, follow, and peace out. Check my channel playlist, my anything sculpture stuff. You'll learn a lot of it in an hour or 30 minutes or less. All the stuff's there. Join the Dreams Amino if you guys want to, and peace.